All right, all right. What up, what up, what up, y'all? I am your host, Young Smooth, and once again, tuned into another episode of Kicking It with Young Smooth, where I, the Young of the Smooth, bring you some of the illest guests. And I did not find this guest this time. This guest found me, apparently through the algorithms and all the great spaces of all the interwebs. Give it up for my man, Vigilante. Vigilante, say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's going on, people? It's your boy Vigilante. Make sure y'all follow me at Vigilante LOM on Instagram.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as I like to start off on every interview because it's such a still relevant topic, how are you doing after or within this pandemic, and what have you learned?
Before the pandemic started, I was on a really good track as far as being able to. I've always had my career mapped out months ahead. I always knew what I was going to be
Mm-hmm.
doing for the whole year. In at the beginning of the year, when the pandemic hit,
Right.
that just cut off everything. And I went back to the drawing board and I realized that there was a lot of money that I was missing out on that I could have been making at home that I now got a chance to sit down and really think about and gather the pieces and put them together to how to effectively finalize my LLC and stuff like that. So it gave me the time and the space to really home in on the things that were behind the scenes and the small meticulous details that create a substantial business.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, for those that don't know, let me go over it because it's a lot. It's not a little bit. Like this young man of 26 years of age, first of all, I'm like 11 years older than that, and then that's a whole lot going on there. But let me break down the severity of what this young man is doing. Remarcus Vigilante Steel is currently signed to Gage Talent Agency, which is in Tennessee, Premier Modeling and Talent Management, Radium Talent Management, GTK, PR Rep, and Glover Zone. Remarcus has been on projects such as Little with Regina Hall and Issa Rae, the lead on hit show For My Man, and guest star on the show Fatal Attraction, both airing on TV1. Also, co-starring on an episode of Homicide Hunters, Remarcus is currently touring his the hit musical stage play Go Back and Get God as the lead antagonist Fearless. Remarcus also has a successful music career, taking his latest single, That's How We Do It, onto 100 plus radio and media tour. He has premiered on shows such as 107.9 with Aaron Ray, JT, and has the freestyle of the year with Radio God Stu. Also on Streets 94.5 with Ferrari and DC, was even on B100 radio with Deb Antony. Lastly, he even made daytime television appearance on Rich in Faith TV and Beyond Ordinary. In 2020, Remarcus will be premiering in his first animated film, The Little Giant, as the lead Dax, and 21 Questions as the lead Michael, both set to drop on Netflix. That is only half of the journey. Not to mention the fact that you have a clothing line, you are a mogul, you are a philanthropist, you also have a shoe line, you also are doing something with crypto coin and Bitcoin currency. I mean, the list goes on. I'm tired just reading. Wow.
Yeah.
That is not to mention also there is also a deal with Disney Plus in the works as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, I am tired for you. Okay, I am tired for you, sir. Like that is a whole lot of. So you know what? I really, honestly, truthfully, don't know where to begin, but if I had to begin anywhere, um let's talk about your acting chops.
Okay.
What made you get into acting versus music? Because I usually have a lot of artists on the show, but why acting? I'm sorry, in conjunction with music. Let's put it like that, in conjunction.
Well, to be honest, being a creative it encompasses so many different arenas. So
Mm-hmm.
the music and the acting somewhat intertwine a lot. Like when you're shooting a music video or coming up with concepts or stuff like that. A lot of people don't know that when you put together a skit on Instagram, you're literally writing a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You put a bunch of skits together, that's a short film.
Right.
If you put a bunch of short films together, that's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, everything as far as being a creative kind of encompasses everything that creates what vigilante is when the creative side meets the business side right in the middle. So
Mm-hmm.
when it came to the acting, with me living in Atlanta, we have such a huge acting scene now, and it's extremely tangible to get your foot in the door when you know the right people and when you understand how to network as a new person.
Right.
So I pretty much networked my way into the door as far as acting went, and then once I saw how much they were paying versus what the music was paying, it was definitely a lucrative decision. So I stuck with it, and then it took me places that the music couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like a human ladder, to where one person does a flip and then they flip over, then another person goes like that, then it goes like that,
Right.
that's literally how my career has been built up to where it was. And if it wasn't for me using music and then acting as another step, this would have just been a gap of me not knowing how to get from there to there, or using years to do it rather than doing it in months.
You're right. So how did some of these projects come about? Like for instance, the TV1 situations. How did those deals fall to you?
So once I signed to the reputable talent agencies, they were putting me on to different websites and different arenas where professional castings were being held. So
Mm-hmm.
I started to submit to those professional castings, and based off of my look and based off of my availability, I was getting booked on these TV1 shows.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is awesome. And then you did the For My Man, which is probably, so basically, I think if I'm not mistaken, that's where they do like the reenactments of it all, and you're part of that reenactment.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Which episode is it?
I believe that, and this is almost 2 years ago, so forgive me. I
Mm-hmm.
want to say that it was season 5, but what I want people to do is I want them to go to my Vivo channel, Vigilante Vivo. My
Mm-hmm.
For My Man episode has it just hit 1 million views. So
Okay.
y'all y'all let me know which episode and which season it was, because it's titled on that on my Vivo channel. So
For sure.
y'all remind me of which one it is. So yeah, I hope that y'all enjoy it. It's a crazy story. Um, man, let's just say that my mom was in tears after seeing that episode.
Oh, look, that can happen. That can happen.
Yeah.
So tell me more about the clothing line. Like, how did that get started? And what are you doing in moving forward?
The clothing was like a mixture of, like, pretty much what I was saying. What creates vigilante is when the business and the creativity meet each other. So
Right.
we live in a time of information, and we also live in a time of ownership right now. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very proud of that, and I take a lot of pride in me spearheading that for a lot of people who are behind me and that look up to me. So the decision that I made was, if everybody and their mama is gonna have a clothing brand, and I'm gonna have this big following to where I'm always gonna have this light to where I can shine on you guys' clothing brand, then instead of you
Okay.
wasting your marketing dollars on stuff that you have no idea what you're doing, you can you can give that marketing budget to somebody who has clearly shown that they know what they're doing. And we can work in conjunction with you becoming the biggest and most reputable clothing brand, or whatever level that you feel that you want to make it to.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. And the shoe line is with MLO, which I've actually seen those, which are promoted on Instagram, and they've also been, I think, what else? I've seen them on Instagram and Facebook. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and how did that deal fall into your lap as well?
Filming with Investigation Discovery. We had a conversation um, after I was, well, as I was filming my last couple of episodes. I mean, my last few scenes with them, and we got back to the hotel room. We had a phone conversation. We locked in for a nice amount of money and for a nice amount of shoes, and we've been locked in ever since. And I just been spiking their sales up and helping them get into big publications and just putting them in a new light. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think that they've gained probably about 10, 20,000 followers since I've been with them, and then the sales have just been through the roof.
That's what's up. I like those too. I was like, oh, I need me a pair. I remember actually it kind of going past my feet, and I was like, oh, these are nice. But yeah, so I think I probably will end up copping a pair really soon. Now, I now I have no choices, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
As you should, for sure.
As I should. So, you've worked on Little, and you've done, like we talked about the TV One situation. Um, as far as Disney Plus, what's in the works there? Because I know we also talked about you having your own animation that's coming up as well. But what's in the works for that as well?
For sure. With the animation that's coming out, shout out to Queen. She's the writer and director. I did a project with her called Active Shooter, and I got the role on that as one of the co-leads. And I guess from the work that I did, she invited me back, and I was the only person out of like a 10 cast project that she invited back to be the lead on her next
Right.
project. So it said a lot about how she felt about the work that I did previously on her first thing. So when I got invited back, she had an animation film in the tuck that she wasn't telling nobody about, and we recorded it. And I think that we recorded maybe 1/4 of it. And she was playing me the other characters, and she had like this look on her face where it was just like of disappointment. And I'm like, what's the problem? And she's just like, I don't like what they did, and I just feel like that the project is just kind of getting away from me a little bit. And I'm like, well, that's not the way that we talk. That's not the way that we do things, especially when you're affiliated with me. If this is what you want to do, this is what we're gonna do. So you let me know if you want to do this. And she told me, I want to do this. And I read the script. It's a beautiful script. And I said, okay, what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to do something for you that I've never done for nobody. And instead of you having to outsource your music, I'm going to just bring my album here. So that way you will have a soundtrack for your project. And then I'll make custom production for the in-between and the background music. And then on top of that, since you don't like what you got with the cast, I'll help you recast it with all the projects that I've been in. I'll bring my professional acting friends to your arena and give you a full cast of new energy so you can have a new energy about this whole project. And then we can go from there. And once we do all of that, then you tell me what you want to do moving forward. And Disney Plus came into play.
Cool. That's what's up. That's what's up. And so I know you were also, it also talked about you working on some things with Netflix. And also before we go into the Netflix situation, once again, anyone who has looked at any of my posts recently is within the last 24 hours. Shout out to my man, Mighty Mar, TT the artist, Colada, just Mumbles, DJ K Spin, everybody, DDM, everybody, Easy Jackson that worked on the project for Dark City Beneath the Beat, which is on Netflix. Stream it right now. I had to put that shameless plug in because it painted my city in the best light ever. And being from Baltimore is, y'all just don't know. Like, it made us look amazing. Shout out to Issa Rae. I thank you for making my city look amazing. And I had to put that shameless plug right there because since we're talking about movies in that general sense, I just wanted to put that out there. But Netflix. Let me ask you a question that's all topic about all of your business. Anything in particular that you're watching that you on your downtime?
I'm trying to see. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be so honest. Because I started doing so many movies and TV shows, I try not to watch anything that they don't pay me to be in. So
Okay,
it has to be
I hear that. Get your coin.
yeah. It has to be highly
Yeah.
talked about, or it has to be
Mhm.
something that I'm booked for. So the first time that I ever watched For My Man was in the hotel room the night before I had to go on set the next day. Just so that I could get a feel for what I was going to be doing the following day.
Right.
And when I got booked for Homicide Hunter, I was on season 9, episode 8. So I went back 9 seasons and I watched all 9 seasons of Homicide Hunter leading up to it. None of the episodes are connected to each other, but I just did that so that I could be acclimated with the growth of the show, so I knew what direction they were going in when I got there.
Right. Exactly. Which makes all the sense in the world, because it's always about the preparation first and being prepared, because preparation and opportunity meets success. So yeah, I definitely feel you on that.
If I'm being honest too, I'm not really a big fan of the stuff that people are writing. I feel like a lot of the stuff is kind of cliche. It's not creative. It's all tying into each other. It's a very basic ABC 1, 2, 3 storyline. And I'm a person where I take great pride in my art. And from this point on in my career, I no longer want to be involved. And because of my financial decisions, I no longer have to be involved in anything that I don't feel is going to be a monumental Black Panther type of
Sometimes they just want to be seen. You know what I'm saying? That is what it is.
Some attention. Black Panther monumental kind of thing that's culture shifting. If it's not shifting the culture, then I don't want to be a part of it. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I try to keep my eyes and ears clear so that it's not an oversaturation of what's going on here and what's going on there. I know enough not to copy anybody else, but I stay clear enough to have fresh ideas.
Well, speaking of fresh ideas, what is a studio session like for Vigilante? Like, how do you create? What is your space, your whole mantra like when you're in the studio?
That's a good question. Each song is different, and when I'm in like what they would consider to be album mode, I've never put out an album myself, but I put out like 4 or 5 mixtapes, and these are all years ago, back when I was like rapidly creating music. So during that time, because I'm gonna give you like a 2-part answer: what it was back then and what it is now. So what it was back then was I was solely locked into the music, and I had no focus on anything else. So I was just anything that was hot at that time, I would write to that beat, and I would just give it the most random, most just creative bars that I possibly could, just to showcase with people that I could compete with what was going on in the mainstream. After the song was over, I didn't know how to mix and master and engineer and stuff like that. So I would just put the songs out on YouTube, and then it would just go crazy on YouTube and trend on people's walls back in the day on Facebook. And I would just see it reposted over and over and over again. And that's how I got my satisfaction from what I was doing. And it was driving me to continually do it.
Right.
So nowadays, I don't touch a studio or anything that involves music unless there's a very lucrative opportunity. So I'm sitting on so much creativity that by the time that a song appears, I already have it done in my head mentally. So now I can get it done fast, and it's the best thing that you've ever heard that fast.
So but if that is the case, so like what's the best way to ask this question? So because you're so involved into the purity of what that is there anything that ever distracts you that you get distracted by in your journey? Like, do you ever get sidetracked on what you're doing, on your focus?
I don't know if I use the word sidetrack. I think I would
Mm-hmm.
more so use, like, I would say that sometimes there's a lack of information.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Kanye West, he was doing an interview and he was kind of frustrated because he was like, damn, I'm this old and I'm just now finding out this, and this. But I've been around people
Mm-hmm.
who've known this, and this for years and didn't tell me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I
But
feel the
that
same
also
way.
goes to the black experience in a certain kind of way. I think that we have a tendency to not share the wealth. You know what I'm saying to you? So if you have what you have, why not teach someone else? And I think that sometimes we always decide to put a coin value behind the knowledge. If I can make someone else or allow someone else to eat, like that gives me wealth beyond greater wealth, because what you'll do and what you'll always do is say, yo, I learned this from Smooth. Like that's what I like, that's the lesson that I taught. So I agree with that, and I definitely understand how quickly that shift is. And we as a people just we need to make that more relevant in what we do. We really don't. And I get it. I applaud you on that, and I applaud you for understanding the factor of like, yo, I'm this age and nobody else is trying to really give me that game, but I'm going to create my own game with that. So I think that is super dope. Um, so let's see. We talked about your deals. Let's ask some arbitrary questions to get to know you a little better.
Okay.
Um, so if you could have anything named after you, what would it be?
I don't want to do a star. Everybody does that. I don't want to do a street. Everybody does that. If I could have something named after me, what would it be? I would love to have a. I feel like a day is still special. Depending on what you
Mm-hmm.
do that day, I feel like a day is still special.
Right. So
I
have a
would love
day
to have
named after you.
that. Yeah, Vigilante Day for sure.
Okay. Okay. And what would people do on Vigilante Day?
On Vigilante Day, that's the day where you take that leap of faith. That's the
Mm-hmm.
day where you've always wanted to eat at this restaurant and you keep on driving by it. Today is the day that you're gonna eat at it.
Okay. Okay.
You
All
wanted to
right. So
slide in this person DMs. Today is the day that you're gonna
that is
do
the day you gonna do it.
it.
Okay.
This is your leap of faith day. That's what it is.
Okay. Right. So even with the vigilante brand and the thought process, it's always about doing things that are out of your comfort zone and doing things that are different from everyone else. Is that what I'm getting?
In a sense, it's more
Mm-hmm.
so because I want people to be comfortable in discomfort. So it kind of creates a new comfort zone.
Ooh, ooh, that's a word. That is a word. I'm gonna give you a thought process too. So recently I bought a new car. Yay me. So the car is a 2021, and I literally was kind of shaken up at the dealership. You feel what I'm saying to you? I was like, damn, am I doing the right thing? Is is this even possible? How am I going to make it happen? And I almost had to let the voice of God say, yo, it's going to be good. It's going to be okay. Like, I've brought you this far all last year. And through a pandemic, and you're still going to be okay. What that is God shaking you to your core. When you're not rattled, if you're not rattled, you're not living. You feel what I'm saying to you? So if you're not in a zone or in a space to be rattled, you're not living. And so it was just my thought on that.
No, 100%. I actually
Mm-hmm.
have a similar sentiment to share.
Mm-hmm.
When when I first started doing Forex, I gained a lot of success very fast. So I immediately got into a good financial comfort zone. And one of the team members that we brought on our team, that me and my wife brought, it was going through a tough time. So she ended up moving from where she moved from the north to the south, and she ended up staying on our couch for about 2 months or so. And the day that she moved down here, I had a 2012 Hyundai Sonata, and I woke up that morning and I got a text from one of my friends who knew that I was looking for a Mustang, and this was in 2020, and it was a 2020 Mustang. So I went to the dealership, and it was the only car that I drove. I got up that morning before my wife and before our friend got up. Like, I was up early. I think I was the first person at the dealership. And I went there, and I'm asking myself the same questions that you were asking, because I was comfortable where I was, but I knew that I wanted to make a statement to myself and to everybody that was around me and to my life as a whole, that I wanted to upgrade in a way to, and not just upgrade materialistically, but to upgrade my life as a whole.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting there at the counter, and I'm expecting for him to say, it's gonna be about 2,000 down, 3,000 down. This man said it's gonna be a possible 7,000 to 8,000 down. So I'm gonna need that today.
Ooh.
And then I'm gonna need this monthly, and then your insurance is gonna go to this right here. And I'm just like, okay, these are all numbers that I can do. These are all numbers that I can do, but it's just a matter of, will I be willing to bet on myself and believe in myself and my capabilities moving forward to be able to do that. And I made that decision almost a year ago, and I'm extremely happy and satisfied with me doing that.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. And I think I literally kind of felt the same way. I was very much so like, could I do that? But I also played the game. See, here's one of the things. I was a car salesman at one point. So I knew the game inside and out. You can't play me like it is what it is. But my car, I only had my last car for a year, and they paid off the vast majority. I only rolled over X amount on negative equity, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And that wasn't that bad. And now I'm getting like the brand new latest model of a whole vehicle. And for real, one of the things that humbled me in the situation was I didn't tell anybody in the beginning. I didn't even tell my wife. Like, I literally came home and she was like, whose car is this? I'm like, it's mine. I went for an oil change, and then I came back with a car. But after being in it, which happens quite frequently apparently, but where one of the things that really put me at ease was she didn't trip. She was like, yo, you've always had it, you got it, you can do this. So she didn't trip. So I was like, yo, that's the feeling uncomfortable. But yes, you do, like you said before, you have to feel uncomfortable to get to the comfort. Like you have to feel that way. All right, let's see.
Shout out to her for being a great addition to your team.
Oh, let me tell you something. We both 15 years in this marriage situation, and 17 years knowing each other. It's a long ass time. We got like almost 2 decades in. It's a lot. That is my baby. Like, yes, it's a long time. It's a long time to love somebody. Okay. So if you could bring one famous person back from the dead, who would it be?
That's so tough, man. Because
they only get one.
I know. Sometimes I think about what the writing ability of Shakespeare would be modern day.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
And, oh man, and think about what the piano playing skills of what is homie name that cut his ear off?
Picasso.
Of Picasso, and of Beethoven, and of, I think you said Bach. That's his name. Of those, that's 3 different people, right? Of those 3 people, they're modern day production skills. And the
Like, what would
modern
that look
day
like?
painting of Picasso. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I wonder what Tupac would be like.
But if you had to choose one,
I know.
first of all, let's be clear. What would Tupac look like with a Twitter? And what would Tupac have looked like last year with a Twitter?
Oh man.
Like, I think that that would have been a lot last year. Like, we would have thought that 2020 would have been a thing. I think that if Tupac was still alive and had an Instagram in 2020 and was going up against Donald Trump every day,
Yeah.
that would be good quality entertainment. I'm not gonna lie. Definitely.
Oh man. If I had to bring one,
Yeah.
oh boy, I gotta go with the greatest entertainer of all time. I gotta go with Michael.
Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I ain't gonna say nothing about Big, just putting that out there.
Shout out to Big.
Love Big. Big is everything to me. And that's one of the things that I think about and I talk about quite frequently is legacy. If anybody ever really thinks about it, Big has one of the best legacies that there is. Untarnished. Very much so. His mother has taken care of a lot of that. And Miss Wallace has given us a lot of entertainment, and we still have things. Big is still in a holy regard. Pac doesn't have it. Aaliyah doesn't have it. Hell, damn near Left Eye doesn't have it. Like, it's not. I mean, TLC still did their thing, but Left Eye doesn't really have a good legacy. When you really think of a legacy, and you think of how good it looks, B.I.G. is always the best legacy out there.
I might have.
Would you agree?
I might have to go back and do some research, but I think that off the top of my head, just based off of just my first time analyzing it, that may be a correct statement.
I've been sitting back thinking about it for a while. Like, Aaliyah, you can't find her music. Tupac is, every time we've done something that has been with Tupac, even down to the last movie, which was the All Eyes on Me, everything has been his perspective from jail. And never like a more deep introspective perspective or documentaries of people that knew him and loved him and was like right there. His mother, Afeni Shakur, is gone, so there's nobody else with that. His sister doesn't really take an active role into a lot of that. When you think, what I am afraid of, I'm gonna be really real about what I am afraid of is DMX. I am very fearful that his story and his legacy will not be done right because he does have 16 children. His youngest is at least 5. And I don't think that because there's so many different baby mothers, it's not going to be told right. I don't think it's going to be told right. I think there's too many different perspectives. And I don't think that his legacy is going to be left in the hands correctly. Unless his first ex-wife does it.
He said his first ex-wife.
Yeah, his very first one that was with him in the beginning. Unless she takes some of the reins and does a lot of responsibility and talks with movers and shakers, I don't think that his legacy is going to be done right. I don't. I feel like because Earl and not just DMX has such a tragic story, I don't think that it will be done its justice the way that it needs to be. Just a thought.
Let's just remain hopeful.
Just a thought.
That's all we can do. Let's just remain hopeful.
I am, but I know Negroes, so I know how these Negroes do. Because here's the thought process I want you to take with you. Death is harder for the living than it is the dead. Okay, because that is a real thought. Death is harder on the living than it ever will be on the dead. The dead are moving on to the next plane, the next thought process of life or afterlife. It is not easy. It is so ridiculously ugly and disgusting for those that are living. But anyway, moving on. So sorry not to drown that in so much sadness. Have you ever had this can't be happening moment, and what was it?
Everything.
I can only imagine. Shoot.
Yeah. Everything in the past 10 years. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
This cannot be happening when I was on the set of Alvin and Chipmunks, and I got to see like the little dolls that they use to animate the
For the
Alvin and
animatronics.
Chipmunks. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the moments. Another moment was when I was on the set of Barbershop 3, and I'm eating lunch, and I look up and I see Ice Cube, JB Smooth, Common, Eve, Nicki Minaj.
I'm not. I don't want to look at you right now. I don't want to look at you right now because you know how I feel about that. You know how I feel.
I know.
Yes,
Oh, man.
I feel a certain way. Like you got a chance to at least see or meet Onika. I feel a certain kind of way about that. Feel a way about
Is that
that.
Nicki's real name?
Yes, her real name is Onika Tanya Mirage. Don't judge me. Don't ask why I know this. Like,
She
I
did
am
a
a
good job at
huge.
hiding that. I didn't know that was her name.
No, let me tell you something. The Barbs will let you know. Let's be clear. The Barbs is a gang. They don't care. But yeah, no, she is just one of my favorites. But I can't because every show I feel like I do this. But so also like we talked about before, you were also on the set of Little. That was also one of the moments. What happened on the set of Little? Like what were you doing there?
Have
Because
you
that's
seen the
actually one of
movie?
my favorite movies. I love the movie. I love the movie.
Okay.
Now
You saw my part?
I did, but I didn't realize that was you until just now. So don't
Mm-hmm.
judge my life. I'm playing it back in my head now. I'm gonna have to rewatch it again. But yeah, okay. Damn. Now I remember. Wow. Like I haven't
Yeah.
watched it in months. So yeah, it's been a minute. So I'm gonna have to rewatch that again. But how did that come about? And you got to work with my fave. You got to work with Issa.
Issa is dope too. I
Yeah.
was on another set film, and I forgot what movie it was for, and I got a call from Cab Casting. Shout out to Cab Casting. They're the number one urban movie casting company here in Atlanta, and I've been working with them for years. And I have built a relationship with the owners, and the owners ended up showing my photos to the director of Little, and she handpicked me from those photos. So they called me, I picked up. They said, we need you on set this time, this. They didn't really tell me what I was going to be doing. And when I got there was barely anybody there. Like it was just the crew and just a couple of actors. So I'm like, wow, whatever role I got today is going to be a standout role. And then it ended up being my first movie theater premiere.
Absolutely. How was that? Because you got a chance to really kind of go to the red carpet situation. How did that feel?
Well, honestly, that's one of the things that I wish that I would have done differently at that time. Was I didn't know. Remember, I told you nobody gave me this information, so I literally was getting signed and learning and all of that stuff as I went. So Little was my turning point for my background career transitioning into my professional career, because all of that came before For My Man and all of that stuff. So I had a friend, shout out to my boy George Locke. We actually both started doing background at the same time, and we both started doing background at the same time, and we both got into the movie Little. He filmed the day before me, I filmed the day after. And when he filmed, he went there for an entirely different role, got his role switched, and ended up becoming a SAG actor based off of him getting his role switched that day. So
okay.
That was such a huge moment for him, and he took full advantage. He went to the red carpet. He met all of the other actors. He befriended them. He got into other projects based off of his networking that he was doing. So I was watching the blueprint that he set forth on how to transition networking from being just a regular background artist to now transitioning into a professional acting career. Me, myself, I didn't have that same, I guess, storyline when it came to my involvement with the movie. I didn't go to the red carpet. I didn't go to the rap party, anything like that. And it was just because I didn't take full advantage of the networking opportunities because I didn't know how. You know,
Right.
I wanted to quote unquote stay in my place, but I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
also do a great job in the role as well.
For sure, for sure. Did you also get a chance to speak with or meet Marseille Martin?
I did. We actually had a couple of moments together.
That little child is it is the strangest thing to be a fan of Blackish, because I love Blackish like all the way. I'm not really a big huge fan of Grownish or Mixish, but Blackish for sure. But to see her from a little tiny kid to this grown woman running her own production company, and when I say grown, only like I think she's what, like 16 now at this point, so I don't know how grown you are, but to see her come into her own is so dope. And also, what I want to say, I want to make the declaration right now. I'm making it. I am manifesting it because it will happen. I am going to be on that hooray team, on the hooray team for Issa Rae. I'm going to make it happen. I don't know how, but it is going to happen. Once she started laying out that blueprint for all of the things that she wanted to do and how she wanted to help like podcasters and artists and actors and so on and so forth, I am looking to be down on that team. Just putting that out there.
And
Putting it
anything
in the
that I could do to
atmosphere.
possibly help that happen, I would definitely do my part.
We will be in contact, my good brother. I really appreciate that. Okay, so more stuff about Vigilante. All right, so if you had a favorite t-shirt, everybody has a favorite t-shirt that they wear once in a while. What is it and what does it have on it, if anything at all?
Such an interesting question.
Yeah.
Um, uh, my favorite shirt. You know what? Ever since I tatted my chest, I've become a shirtless person.
Oh, you one of them. See. Ain't
Mm-hmm.
nobody got time for that. I'm just losing this weight or whatever. You feel what I'm saying? Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm at least in tank top feeling good mode at this point. That's how good I am at this point. But yes, that is a shame. That is a shame. Y'all young people in this chestless shit. Just unnecessary. All right, we gonna move on from that because I feel a certain kind of way. All right, if you all right, so what's your favorite food? What is the food that you must have and it got to be cooked right? And who should it be cooked by? I love the fact that you think really hard about these questions. I love this.
The past, I would say 2 years, I have
Hmm.
been exploring my vegetarian, pescatarian, and vegan side.
Yay, me too. That's where my diet is. That's what I'm in.
Which one? All three or one of the categories?
Uh a little bit of all three. So I cut out red meat, I cut out pork, I cut down my carbohydrates, I cut down my sugars, added more water, and added more exercise. So yes, a lot kind of going on all at one time.
Yeah, sound like you on the right path with
Mhm.
you changing up your diet, exercising more, and being in the car that you want. You in a whole new mental space.
Just I'm all the way up here. You feel me? It's a thing. It is a thing. Definitely.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of recalibrating because with me only doing it for 2 years, I had a 24-year diet that was
Hmm.
extremely unhealthy, even as a star athlete. And now I'm re-rendering everything to figure out what it was that was healthy that I was eating that I can continue to eat, and what it is that's
Hmm.
new for me to embrace into my
Hmm.
diet. So I can't give you a full answer just yet, but I will say that
Hmm.
I'm embracing an entirely new diet, and I will be
Hmm.
hiring a vegan, pescatarian, and vegetarian chef in about a month or
Hmm.
two to make
Hmm.
sure that I'm professionally that I'm getting the proper nutrients on a daily
Hmm.
basis.
Right. I think when I started the first go round before 2020 came in and shook everything up, I originally was like, I had to find my healthy fat, and my healthy fat actually became avocados. Super weird. Actually, did hated them. Thought this was the worst thing ever. Like I don't know why anybody would want anything like this. But after a while, you kind of slice them, you salt them. I added salsa with it, and it became like its own little thing, and it's so good. And then like egg whites is so good. So I have a different type of appreciation for food now. So I have a love for food where there's like I'm loving the food that's feeding me, and like not just because I'm just being hungry. Now I still got my fast food moments. Let's be clear. I'm still a kid in my mind, but I love it. Like I've learned this new phase, and I'm like, I wake up and I'm looking at my body every day, and I'm like, is that a pack? Like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? So like every day, and then I'm like, I'm talking to my wife, and she's like, you look great, you look great. I'm like, and I also had to get out of which right now because you're on such a great journey, you'll never know. But I had body dysmorphia for quite a long time where I was like, yo, it's not happening. Like this is not gonna work for me. But after a while, I just kind of got into this position where I was like, look, love the skin you in because you only got one. It's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. And you'll find the regimen.
Absolutely.
You'll find the regimen that works for you. It just sounds like the ones that previously weren't. But with you having the
Mm-hmm.
new avocado diet, and kind of with you
Mm-hmm.
being in the new mental space of you having your show, driving what you want to, and just being in a whole new thing, a clear thing. That right there can be a mental blockage that was previously there that is now allowing you to get as fit as
Good
you want to
point.
be. Mm-hmm.
Good point. Good point. So also, let's see. You have who would you like to collaborate with musically? Speak it into existence.
This is somebody that's current.
Or at least alive if you're gonna collaborate. Like, let's make sure they're at least alive.
Okay, we're gonna do it live. I have a song called "If You Loved Me," and I really want to do
Mm-hmm.
that song with Jasmine Sullivan.
Ooh. Let me tell you something. My love for Jasmine Sullivan has no bounds. Jasmine can be skinny. Jasmine can be thick. Jasmine can sing that voice to the floor. That is one of my singers in my singing category. You know what I'm saying? When she did Insecure, I liked it. When she did that song for Insecure, I was like, oh, this is the best Jasmine Sullivan ever. So yeah, I know. Yeah, Jasmine is definitely a great collab. Speaking of people also in the industry, so I am very interested. How did you get to meet Deb Antney? Deb is a force in this hip hop game that I think that a lot of people sleep on. I think that people don't understand that Deb is she a boss. You know what I'm saying? Waka's mother, she had Gucci, French, and Nicki all at one time under her belt. Oh yeah, because the kid do the research. I don't, I don't play. Um, but how did that come about as far as you getting the chance to be in front of Deb and meet Deb and perform for Deb?
So Deb was talking for a while when she was on TV about starting a podcast slash radio station. This is when it was like first introduced that you could like have your own full radio station.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard her talking about it one day when I walked into my parents' room and she was on TV and she was like, yeah, I have a new radio station. It's called B100. So I started doing research on it and I realized that it was only like 20, 30 minutes away from where I stayed. So
Mm-hmm.
I got in contact with the people up there. And then I ended up doing an interview with her sons, BMS Quam and Brandon
Mm-hmm.
Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
So when I did an interview with them, it was like for 2 hours. I remember, this is crazy. I remember Brandon Phillips looking on my Instagram and then looking back at me and going, "You are dope. Why don't you get any likes?" He's a very blunt guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember I posted a photo that day and I got like 13 likes on Instagram. And he he let me know that he would not accept failure from me because he believed in me and my career.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So him and Deb are so similar to each other in that facet.
Right.
Deb is a no bullshit kind of individual, and
I
her
love Deb.
presence,
I really
her,
do.
her presence in the room without her even talking, like it can be two people having a conversation, and Deb can be sitting in the corner. You will feel her energy in the corner more than you will the
For
person that she's talking to.
sure. Let me tell you why I love Deb. I love Deb not because of the Nikki thing, but I love Deb because Deb reminds me of every auntie that I've had that was
For
that
sure.
auntie that was like and a hard cursing auntie. I love me a good hard cursing auntie. Yes. I like I love Deb because I think that Deb's personality is very underrated. And as a woman in this game, she had to fight. And she had to fight hard. And she loves hard. But the second that you fuck Deb over, oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And she's that kind of person that I really like and hope to eventually meet one day too. Because I'm like, Deb, yo, you shit. Like you shit. Like I don't care what nobody say. Like Deb has she's just she elevated this game, and especially for a game that was very male dominated, she showed you she's gonna if she believes in you, and I've watched her several times, she gonna show you how to get this paper, she gonna show you how to get to that bag, and she gonna make sure you drink. So I can respect that.
Shout out to
Um,
Deb. Shout out to
shout out to shout out to Deb. Deb, if you ever see this, let me tell you, the kid ready for the game. You hear me? What I'm saying the kid ready. Shorty, let's be clear. Um, Okay, so arbitrary question. Which talent would you most like to have? Although you have many, what would be one thing that you'd be like, damn, that's not something that I do, but I would love to do it?
And when you say that, do you mean like a supernatural talent, like fly, invisible, or
It
do
could be
you?
anything. It could
Okay,
be
okay.
anything.
I really wish that I had the talent to read minds. That's what I wish I could
Mm,
do.
mm-mm,
I feel
mm-mm,
like
mm-mm.
if you can read minds, you can have and do anything in the world that you want to have and do.
You know what? You know what? This is the only way, and I never ever really try to disagree like that. But this is the one thing that I disagree with that with is this: reading minds would come with also reading business. And what I like to do, what my great aunt Mary has told me, is mind my goddamn business. And what ends up happening is people in their mind and their thoughts are never aligned with their actions. Like
Hmm.
they may think something, but their actions are never aligned with that. And yeah, you could get a discernment to know it. You know what I'm saying to you? And yes, have that fortitude to know it up front. But honestly, truth be told, then it becomes what they say about you, and then you get obsessed with it. So like that sounds good in theory, but in practice, shit can get ugly as hell. You know what I'm saying? And I never disagree with that, but that would be one that I wouldn't do. Like for me, I would. This is weird because I'm a geek. I would mix powers with like the Phoenix and Storm. Like I would, I would be like, I would be able to manipulate everything and then have mind control all as well. So again, all powers that seem good in theory until things go wrong.
I think with the being able to read minds thing, it's kind of because there's different types of people. So there's different types of people who would utilize the information in a different way, and then there are
Hmm.
people who would receive the information in a different way. So
Sure, sure.
let's say that I'm pulling up on a girl, right, and I have my Mustang, and
Hmm.
in her she comes over to my Mustang and she's like, wow, I love you. I don't know what you do, but I just really, whatever it is that you do, I'm a huge fan. And then in her mind, she's is saying, I don't really give a shit what he does. I just like this car, and I'm over here for this car.
Hmm.
So with that information, I then have the opportunity to choose to proceed or choose to not proceed. So
Hmm.
it would depend on who the person is that had that power, because that right there could, because it's a clear indication that she's clearly not a person that you should be hanging with. So that right there would
Right.
be an obvious escape route for me not to get caught up in the way that she is, because she pulling up on anybody that has anything nice with this same speech.
Right. And what that is just in life in general is just the level of discernment. Like once you have that level of discernment, period. Like you can feel that. You can do that now. You know what I'm saying to you? Like in life, you can do that now because the industry that you'll walk through, as backseat that I have taken to it, but watching other people try to get into it, the industry that you have taken on is very much so very cutthroat in a certain kind of way. And it does take a level of discernment to say, hey, look, check this out. This ain't for me because what you do ain't really for me. One thing that I have learned is you are 26 and I am 30. We're not going to go there. One thing that I have learned is about the level of being comfortable in my skin. And what I think is so dope about you is that at 26 years old, I think you have found a niche. I think you are super comfortable in your skin. I think that the blessings kind of radiate over top of you. So kudos to you because it took me a whole decade to even get there. You feel what I'm saying to you? I didn't even want to do this at first. I was very much so like, oh no, I'll just have an audio podcast and it ain't gonna be that. Nah, I had to. The pandemic made me have to step this to another level because if not, I was gonna get lost in the sauce. So I definitely appreciate your energy for that because that's great.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, man. And we definitely gonna grow together and stay in contact.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm gonna be checking in on you with some recipes so that we can trade those and
I'm here for that. I'm
I'm
here for that.
I'm boxing now, so I'm actually gonna be getting my weight up. As you're getting yours down, I'm gonna be getting mine up.
Right.
And making sure that we both stand on it.
For sure. But you know what? Before I go, I also have a particular bar from a gentleman that it intrigued me. Now, it's part of the bar. It's not the whole bar, but it definitely says, but you believe in your idol. Even freedom ain't free. And it got free in the title. Mm-hmm. Take me to your mindset of what that was before we go. Like, how did that line come about? Like, what does that line mean to you?
Have you ever seen the movie Equalizer?
Yes, recently, and I love the new situation with Queen Latifah. Don't judge my life. That joint is nice.
So, at the end of the movie, when he finds Pushkin in Equalizer 1, he asks him when he's in the shower. He says, "What do you want?" He says, "I want freedom." He said, "Freedom. It's expensive, but I can get it for you. Name your price." And then when he says that, he cuts the light off and he walks away, and then he gets electrocuted and dies. And then we see the trail of everybody else that he killed to get up there. So when he said that, that got me thinking. Equalizer is a guy who and I love Denzel's role in the movie, but he does kill people. And we have a skewed view on how we view killers when it comes to whether they're killing for this reason or for this reason. Either way, if he has a child and his child asks him, "Yo, Dad, have you ever killed anybody?"
Right.
He has to give the same answer as a person who would have killed somebody even for the wrong reason. And you have to ask yourself in that movie, if he didn't do what he did, would anybody at the end, especially the girl that he did all of that for, would she have achieved freedom?
No, you're right. And so therefore freedom is not free.
Not free.
It will always come at a cost. It will always come at a cost.
And that was
yeah. But yes, I love a bar. So if you ever check out or you have time and you listen to the podcast, I do a Kick That Lyric all the time, and I have a really good one coming up this week. But when I tell you, it is refreshing and amazing to see someone who cares about the bars and who cares about what they say and how they say it and what that means, what that means to them. Speaking of which, the freestyle that you did on with Stu, how did that come about? And was that a freestyle or was it written?
It was written, and
Mm-hmm.
it came about when I was. Well, let me give you a little bit more backstory. I was on the set of BET filming with the Quad, and when I was filming with the Quad,
Mm-hmm.
I won a contest
I
with
remember the
Ferrari
quad.
Simmons. I won
Mm-hmm.
a contest with Ferrari Simmons where he allowed me to freestyle in the dungeon. So I just dropped like a 16 on air. So when I did that,
Mm-hmm.
it transitioned my following, and I gained a whole bunch of following because that's a mainstream radio station here. So when I
Right.
did that, what I had to do to win was I had to get the most tags and I had to have the most people. This is when Instagram stories first came around. And I had to have those
Mm-hmm.
people tagging me and tagging him in the story where they're saying, hey, Ferrari, you should have Vigilante come up to the dungeon and stuff like that. So I won the contest. And then I seen that Radio God Stu on a different station kind of was asking for the same thing, but he was saying, I want you guys to
Right.
email. So when he said, I want you guys to email, I remembered how I won the first contest, and I had a whole bunch of people tag him. And an hour later, he said, "You know what? We're switching up the rules. No more emails. Everybody tag me." So I had a leg up on the
Mm-hmm.
competition because I had people already tagging him. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up winning the contest. And a couple of days before that, I had got picked to go on. I got picked to film with BET and I got picked to film with Netflix, but they rolled over in
Right.
times, so I had to choose which one I wanted to do, a week with Netflix or a day with BET, and I chose to do the
Mm-hmm.
week with the lead role. So
For sure.
I had to leave, I think, on a Saturday, and I ended up dropping that freestyle on the Friday night.
I love it. That freestyle was hot. That freestyle was hot, definitely.
Do you have any bars that stood out from that one?
Um, no, the freestyle itself was just great. I don't have anything that I particularly wrote in my head, but was there anything that was your favorite, like one of your favorite lines? Like when I say your favorite line, I mean that line that you was like, "Ooh, damn, I said that." What line was that?
The whole thing, the whole thing. When
If
I
you had to
write.
give, yeah.
When yeah, cause I hate it when people call me a rapper. I'm not a rapper. I'm a wordsmith. I'm a linguist.
Oh, oh, you said it. Yes, yes. Here's why I'm cheering. Only people that know me and know me very well know that that is the word that I use for those people. Like my boy QG, you're a wordsmith. My girl Neffy Rap, she's a wordsmith. Like there are certain people, my cousin Sun Zulu, you're a wordsmith. There are certain people that are wordsmiths. Me as an MC, not to toot my own horn, but beep beep. I am a wordsmith, yes, but I am all about my cadence has to be right, the bars have to be right, and when we do different takes of whatever you want me to do, I'm gonna do it in 30 to 40 different ways to give you something to work with on each stem. But that's just me. But yes, the word wordsmith, that is my word. I need those. I need those. Speaking of which, before we go, what do you think about the state of hip hop at this point?
I think that I think that we're at a very good place. I think that
Mm-hmm.
right now we're in a time where you literally can listen to anything. There's no such thing as this is the cool music or this is what you gotta listen to. You can
Good
literally be
points.
listening to a mainstream song and then go over to your cousin's house and he's listening to somebody that you never heard, and in the click of a
Yeah.
button you can have that person's whole album.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
True.
what it is that since music has transitioned to a more independent state, independent people have not figured out how to promote on a mainstream level, since mainstream is what started the whole, it not started, but what has dominated the entire mainstream industry.
True, true.
So somebody like myself, what I'm doing right now, and I'm gonna let you know this on air in front of your fan base, is that I am stacking up like crazy behind the scenes because my next music move is about to be undeniable.
I'm excited. I'm excited. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what? We'll talk a little bit about that offline for a few seconds as well. You know what else? You just made me have a whole thought about that. One of the great things, especially with like me being a millennial and you guys being like the Gen Z situation, that means I'm old. Don't judge my life. Um, one of the things is y'all still have an appreciation for my music, for my 90s music. Like there's a love and appreciation there that is great. And I see it translated. However, I will say that sometimes there are a lot of songs that are not translated very well. Like I don't think that a lot of people do it and have a love for the art. I will say one artist that is underrated and does not and deserves her flowers more than anything because she works extremely hard is Tiana Taylor. Tiana Taylor's last album was amazing and people slept.
Yeah.
Amazing. There was not, like even down to the part where she did the Janet. First of all, here's a story. Got a little story to tell. This is funny. Don't judge my life. She used the "Would You Mind" track on the new song on a new album called The Album. "Would You Mind" was a track from Janet. It was one of the like nastiest, raunchiest tracks that Janet had. And when Janet would perform it, she would like strap guys down and like lap dance them and all type of shit. The funny for that is this. This is how old I am. I had an old Nokia phone. It was blue with the bottom flip piece. And I can't believe I'm telling you this. And my outgoing message was Janet's "Would You Mind" in the background. And it was like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. It was very much so, yeah, y'all know who y'all just reached. So, at the tone, lead a message, you know what I'm saying? And I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And then you just hear like Janet in the background and shit. I was trying to be all sexy unnecessarily, but Tiana brought that back for me, and that was one of the greatest memories just listening to that song.
110% agreed. 110% agreed. In the industry, in the mainstream industry, people choose who they want to champion in certain arenas.
True.
Tiana Taylor is a great artist. She's extremely slept on. I 110% agree with that. And what I want her to do is I want her to continue to make great music, but I want her to know that her underappreciation in the music doesn't mean that she's not appreciated. And I want her to continue to find the arena that she is most appreciated in. That's what I want her to do.
Absolutely. And not to mention the fact, when she started going under the moniker of Spike T, and started directing, and plus she directs all the music videos, and her and Iman, all of that great stuff. When I tell you, I was so pumped. I was like, yo, sis, I love Spike Lee. So the fact that you called yourself Spike T and I love your visuals, like Tiana, she does it for me. It's not the fact that you're sexy. That's apparent. But your mind, the way it works in these visuals, I'm here for it. I also, unpopular opinion, I don't think that her whole situation with Kanye worked out really well at all. I think that, like, aside from that, the album and the Keep the Same Energy situations were completely different. And I think Kanye is in such a different space that it hasn't, his work in that 2018, 2019 situation, it just didn't work. It just wasn't working really well. So all praises to Kanye. Please, Kanye, get better soon. Because I need graduation, Kanye. I'm sorry. I need that. I need graduation, Kanye.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. I can't really pinpoint how her situation would have been with another label, because I don't know behind the scenes like how she works in and
Mm-hmm.
out of tangent with how Kanye works. But he's been
Right.
on Breakfast Club and he has admitted that he does not give her the proper attention that she deserves when her projects drop and when it's time for her to do her rollouts and stuff like that. So um
Exactly. Exactly.
so yeah, I guess I can see where you're coming from for sure.
Yeah, and you have to look at it from a standpoint as someone who critiques music and loves music in a certain kind of way. Um, I watch this manifestation of Kanye that I'm just like, sir, this ain't it.
Hmm.
This just not you. And after and like let me tell you something. I love Kanye, but I also have a love-hate relationship with Kanye too. Like I might like I liked College Dropout, but didn't like Late Registration. You know what I'm saying? Like Graduation, but didn't like 808s and Heartbreaks. Like, but but I will say this. Eventually, all of them did grow on me. My favorite, of course, is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy for numerous reasons. But it is one of those things where we have such a love-hate relationship. But what I have noticed over the years, Kanye in general is it's all over the place, and I don't think that people are able to gravitate to it. Minus his statements, I just don't think that people are able to gravitate to the music the way that they once were. So, I that's my love for it. But I'm sorry, I always bring this about me like it's about me. But this is how much I love hip hop. This is how much I love music. It is my thing. It's my whole thing. And getting to know you, I had to tell you about me as well, which is a thing. But before we go, this is my ultimate question. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to consist of a few things. I think I'm gonna narrow it down to like five.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I majorly want to be known for is, because this is a huge conversation, especially in hip hop, like how we just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
People like there's no real music anymore. There's no real rappers anymore. There's no real spitters. I hate what hip hop has turned into. This is so bubblegum. And I just want for when people say that when people go, but what about Vigilante? Well, I mean, yeah, we know that, like, he dope, but what about the rest of the people?
Mm-hmm.
Once I'm in the conversation to the point where I'm not to the point where I'm so great that I'm brushed off to where it's expected for you to say him, then that's when
Mm-hmm.
I know that I've done my job, wordsmith wise, and as far as my reach goes as
Yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I want to bring back live instruments in the studio. I want to bring back people doing their album rollout to where you don't just put a single out and then go to the Breakfast Club and then go do your little media tour and then tour it and then have Charlemagne at the end of the interview. So when we get an album on the third, all right, cool. So yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that's not excitement to me. Excitement is when you bring the engineer to the interview and you bring the videographer and they do life in the day of and you get your whole YouTube lit and you let them know that the album is coming in 10 days and you do a 10-day countdown and you bring up another celebrity, I mean another what they would call a nobody, an upcoming star. You bring them up with you and
Mm-hmm.
you create another star through your rollout and you start
Mm-hmm.
kissing babies and shaking hands and actually politicking with the people who love and support you. That's I want to bring that feel back to when people put out movies and put out music and stuff like that, actually going on legitimate promo runs that touch people and create memories in cities that probably will never see another celebrity ever again.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
another thing. And then financial literacy within not just the African American community, but just as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's crazy because I didn't move out of my parents' crib until I was like 25, like 24, 25. And
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I hate to cut you off. I want your generation to stop doing that. I want you to stop doing that. Here's what I want you guys to stop doing. In your 20s, you this is very important. Hear me when I say this. In your 20s, you guys now have this level of expectation that you need to do these things in immediate abundance quickly. It is not necessary. I learned something from a weird movie that I love, which is Poetic Justice. And Regina King said it best. Your 20s are for you to fuck up in it. Your 30s are for you to make and correct the mistakes. And your 40s are then to chill behind the mistakes that you've made. You're not supposed to know it all right now. You feel what I'm saying to you? And we get so boggled down, especially your generation. And I say that because just being 10 years older, you guys get so boggled down that you have to do it right now. Yes, you can pave a way and you shouldn't make a whole lot of mistakes. True, I get that. But y'all get so boggled down into, oh, so I moved out when, let me tell you something, brother. I moved out when I was 21 and got married by the time I was like 22, 23. Didn't think I knew everything and still had hella bumps in the road. So don't ever set yourself back into that because you guys do that quite frequently. Where it's like, oh, I'm not 25, so I haven't met said goal when I was 25. There are other people that have been in these industries and in this game for so long that didn't start their careers until they were 35, 36, 37 years old. So never pigeonhole yourself to that. I'm only interrupting you on that because it as a elder statesman at this point, it fucks me up when y'all feel like that. Like, you good. You're in your 20s. You got a lot of life to live, God willing, and you'll do it and you'll be fucking amazing. Go ahead. So sorry, my bad.
No, it's all good. I'm in huge agreement with you.
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time for my parents and for their parents and for every other entity in that generation that came before me to
Mm-hmm.
understand what it was that I was trying to do, because I never wanted to rent anything. I never wanted to own anything that I didn't own. I never wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be a part of anything that I didn't have any equity or stock into. And it
Talk
kind of
that talk, young brother. Yes.
it kind of clicked with my folks too, because 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago they actually ended up buying their first house. And
Look at that.
I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was just like, there was no way at 43, 42 that you should just be buying your first house when you've always had
Mm-hmm.
steady income since you were like 15. That means you already had the stubs, you already had the statements, you already had everything that you needed to do. You just didn't push
Mm-hmm.
yourself to seek the knowledge for you to own where it was that you live. And that would have put your 4 kids in a better position so that we could do it too.
Well, and also let's look at it in this way. Vigilante, come over, Marcus. Why you got me feeling like this right now? God damn it! So let's put it to you. I'm gonna put it to you like this to be very very clear and honest with you. People are innately who they are because of what they're taught. So they only know what they know. So of course, cut your parents slack because the mistakes or how they got to where they are, those conversations were never had in our like your mama and them, they ain't but so much older than I am. You feel what I'm saying to you? So their generation was not taught that. Like at 30, sorry, no, at like 37, and I'll be 38 in July, I am having those conversations. I bought my first house at like 35. You know what I'm saying to you? So we bought our first house like 3 years ago. Um, we also didn't have the conversations of marriage and how it's supposed to go and what the expectations are supposed to be. We do not, and we don't do it as a people. So it's not just your parents. It's not just anything. It's a lot of us, and we all have done that. What I love about your generation and where this is going now is that you're like, oh, well, wait, I don't want to do that anymore. What does that ownership look like? How does that feel? Those are the things that yes, we do need to have those type of conversations. But cut them slack because at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know, and that's just that it's as real as that. Like you don't know what you don't know.
No, for sure. And that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that goes into why I name myself Vigilante, because it
Mm-hmm.
encompasses who and what I've been my entire life. And
Yeah.
I've from early age. Like when you have conversations with my family, they always say, "Yo, he's been like this since he was 8. He's been like this since he was 4." And it was always, "What about this right here? Now that don't make sense. What about this? No, that don't make sense. But what about that?" Now we got 3 different perspectives on the table, all coming from one person, and it's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's just about what is out of these 3. There has to be a level of pro and cons, and we have to weigh out for each one which one has the most cons and which one has the most pros, and it's just about us getting to a higher level as a collective.
Let me tell you something. I would do this with you all damn day. First of all, young brother, I enjoy your mind. I enjoy your perspective. I enjoy where you're going in life. I what I appreciate and love about you already is that as a grown man, I don't feel the need to son you. You know what I'm saying to you? And like a lot of times there are a lot of people in your age bracket where you feel like, yo, I gotta son you. Let me show you what I know. Let me, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like you are well beyond your years. That's probably the best phrase for it. Like you're well beyond your years. So congratulations on everything that you're going to accomplish because you've already manifested it in your mind. You've already manifested it through your destiny. You're already speaking it into existence. And I, who have just met you and you found moi, this little ass show, and I appreciate it. Thank you so very damn much. I think that one, I hope our friendship continues to be as solid as you are as a person, and I continuously hope you and wish you nothing but growth. So before we can end this out, because let me tell you something, Vigilante, I would have did this with you all day. Like we would have been doing this all day long. I believe you me. But before we end this out, let people know where they can find you, what the next project is going to look like, when we can expect the Disney Plus situation, and your Netflix situations.
All right, so everybody follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at Vigilante LOM, VIGILANTE LOM. I'm going to be starting my Instagram verification company at the end of next month called Vigilante Verified. And that's going to be where everybody on Instagram has the opportunity to get the blue check next to their name after following these 5 steps that I'm gonna have that I'm gonna be showcasing to you guys when I launch my company.
Okay.
My next project is going to be called Flawless Victory, and that's going to be my debut album. And there's no release date set on it at all, but when it does, when I put one on, it's going to be the biggest thing in the world at that time because I'm going to have the budget to back it.
Right. And then you come see me.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna come see you. I got to see you because you with you loving music the way that you do. You are going to love this project. I mean,
I am here for it. I am here for it. You know, I'm just a Baltimore kid trying to make my little dreams come true.
Right. What you heard in those freestyles and what you heard in you know, the bar that we broke down, those were all impromptu things. Those aren't even things that are on the project. Those ain't even make the album cut. So when I say this album is going to be phenomenal, I mean phenomenal. And the soundtrack to the Disney Plus project, the animation film,
I'm excited,
should be coming out either later this year or early next year. It got pushed back due to the pandemic, and had to renegotiate every deal that we had on the table. So now that we got that stuff intact, we're looking at later this year or early next year. For the playing cards, go to YOD Cards on Instagram and go get you some custom playing cards, Chutes and Ladders, or Monopoly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need some playing cards. I'm gonna have to give you that address. You send me them playing cards. You know what I'm saying, play.
Got you. I see the graphic behind us too, so I can go ahead and throw that on there.
Oh yeah. For absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Anything else? Because I'm about to say you got a lot going on. Are you still modeling? And is the clothing line like anything else pending on any of that. And also the Bitcoin deal situation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I want to say shout out to my boy Fitz Hall. Right, I'm about to start He actually just dropped his course for how to become a millionaire in digital currency, and it's free.
Because
So
the time is now.
Yeah, right now, right now. So I'm about to take his course in the next couple of weeks, and
okay,
I see myself hitting millionaire status in 20. Right now it's 2021, so 2023, or toward the end of 2023. The way that everything is looking right now, the end of 2023, I'll be hitting millionaire.
I feel you. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna go ahead and close out. I'm gonna leave you right here at the bottom for a second. You and I will talk off screen, and y'all, that's Vigilante. Like, yo, give it up. If y'all ain't yelling in your seat for Vigilante, I don't know what you doing. All right, brother, hold tight 1 second, and I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
All right. Yo, I told you before. I told you. Nah, I ain't gonna do my Nicki reference. Yo, once again, another dope ass interview from your boy, Young Smooth. You already know what it is. And on top of that, I got another dope ass interview coming next week. Once again, 9:30. You already know what it is. Friday. Let's do that. So once again, you've kicked Young Smooth now. Don't you feel better about it? I couldn't say it. Y'all, I messed that up. Let me do it again. Now, you've kicked it with Young Smooth. Now, don't you feel better about it? I know you do. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next week, and I'm out. Hey.